Oh yeah, here we go. Catchphrase time, sports time. Sorry, it's sports time. My mistake. I got swept up in all the excitement because today we are not only talking about sports games, but we are talking about the most influential sports games in the history of the medium, the ones that forever changed the way in which people pretended to do exercise. Though they may not be considered proper games by some, sports titles are amongst the best-selling games of all time and have a history as deep as any other genre. We're going to celebrate some of the more notable ones today and also do our best to understand the rules. Seriously, what is baseball? What are you doing with the stick and the ball and stuff? For this list, we're limiting our entries to one game per sport, otherwise we would just be talking about FIFA over and over again, and I do not have the strength to do that. We're also not including any kart racing games because last I checked, using a banana skin in an F1 race is against the rules. Didn't say anything about a blue shell though, I have to assume those are legal. Anyway, I'm the digitally athletic Ben from TripleJump, and here are the 10 most influential sports video games of all time. Number 10. Tennis for Two, 1958. Yes, you heard me right, we are kicking off this list with a game that was released in the same year that Charles de Gaulle became Prime Minister of France. Sacre bleu. Tennis for Two was designed by William Higginbotham, an American physicist who had previously worked on the Manhattan Project. Higginbotham was working at Brookhaven National Laboratory at the time and decided to create something interactive for their upcoming public exhibition. The result was Tennis for Two, a very primitive tennis simulator that ran on the same technology used to track trajectory of ballistic missiles. Think of it as Pong's dad, who is really into military history. Some historians would argue that Tennis for Two is one of the first, if not the first, video games ever made. That would make it one of the most important games overall, and it literally laid the groundwork for all tennis games to come. And that's lucky for us because it means we don't have to talk about that Mario Tennis game on the Virtual Boy. That was also influential, but only in the way that it influenced us to never touch a Virtual Boy again. Number 9. Indianapolis 500 The Simulation, 1989. Racing games existed long before 1989, with titles like Pole Position and Outrun raking in the coins in the golden age of arcades, but it was Indianapolis 500 The Simulation, which is going to get very annoying to say repeatedly, that tried and succeeded to switch up the formula. Indianapolis 500 The Simulation gave players the most in-depth racing experience yet, offering the chance to adjust tire type, wing height, and their shock absorbers in order to win a race. I don't even know what a shock absorber is. Are they those round things on the outside of the car? The ones that turn? Players could take their vehicles out on test laps to work out which settings were best before participating in a variety of race types, none of which actually lasted 500 laps, although that may have been a saving grace, all things considered. Indianapolis 500 The Simulation was light years ahead of other races at the time and laid the groundwork for the ultra-detailed driving simulators of today. So next time you sit down to enjoy a game of Forza or Gran Turismo, remember to thank Indianapolis 500 The Simulation, and now I'll never say those words again. Number 8. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out! 1987. Starting life in arcades, Punch-Out, with 2 exclamation marks so you know they're serious, landed on the NES in 1987 and made a huge impact. Its mixture of cartoony sprites and a real-life figure from the world of boxing made the game a crossover smash, and it racked up an eye-watering 2 million sales in its first year. To put that into context, the only other game to do that in 1987 was The Legend of Zelda. The console version is perhaps best remembered for its final boss being undisputed heavyweight champion and ear connoisseur Mike Tyson. Iron Mike was notoriously difficult to defeat and remains one of the hardest final bosses in any video game. Whilst Punch-Out was far from realistic, it expertly blended the skills and reactions needed in the ring with the over-the-top campiness of a fighting game. It helped bring the thrill of a match into people's homes and attracted many new fans to boxing. It also did wonders for the career of Mike Tyson and helped make him a mainstream celebrity. And I'm not just saying that for fear of upsetting him. Please don't punch me, Mr. Tyson. I'm made of wet cardboard and chewing gum. Number 7. Earl Weaver Baseball, 1987. America's pastime, the national game, hitty stick. Baseball has many names, but one name that gamers will always associate with the sport is Earl Weaver, I assume. Sadly, not an English aristocrat who enjoyed a session in the loom, Earl Weaver was an American baseball manager who won the World Series with the Baltimore Orioles in 1970. 17 years later, Weaver lent his name to this game. Earl Weaver Baseball innovated many features that are now standard in sports games, from emulating an entire season instead of just one match to individual stadiums being recreated in the game. It even featured voice synthesis, a first for any sports title, and an editable announcer with pronunciation guides for each player's name. Weaver also helped design the game's AI, using his extensive knowledge and experience to create the most realistic computer players in history at the time. Earl Weaver Baseball remains a firm favourite among the faithful and helped kickstart the sports division of its developers, Electronic Arts. We'll be seeing them again, don't worry. Or maybe do worry. Number 6. NBA Jam, 1993. As someone whose only experience of basketball is watching Space Jam for 3 days straight when I was 11, even I have heard of NBA Jam. Hitting arcades in the early 90s, the game was praised for its innovative 2-on-2 gameplay and its inclusion of real-life basketball stars and their likenesses. Whilst Earl Weaver Basketball and Indianapolis 500 The Simulation were designed to be ultra-realistic, NBA Jam was the total opposite, allowing players to leap impossibly high and shove opponents out of the way without fear of repercussion. You could also unlock special characters, including then-President of the United States Bill Clinton. The success of NBA Jam gave birth to a sequel and an entire genre of less realistic sports games that have brought untold joy to millions of people. Speaking of joy, a Space Jam rewatch is long overdue. Oh, Michael Jordan, when will you learn? Number 5. WWF No Mercy, 2000. We like to leave the graps to our sister channel Cultaholic most of the time, but why should they have all the sweaty chair-swinging fun? Especially when it comes to one of the most iconic N64 titles ever produced. Released at the height of wrestling's popularity, No Mercy delighted fans with its large roster of playable characters, its deep customization suite, and its championship mode in which players took part in 7 unique, dynamic stories in pursuit of various WWF title belts. No Mercy boasts a whopping 89% score on Metacritic and features very highly on our own ranked list of all the best WWE games. Where did it feature on the list? You'll just have to watch and find out. Oh, aren't we teasers? More than 20 years after its release, fans still compare new wrestling games to No Mercy. It is held in such high regard today that WWE's competitors All Elite Wrestling went as far as to hire Hideyuki Iwashita, the man who directed No Mercy, to work on their own console game. Would be nice to get a remaster with updated graphics though. I'm sure that would sell rather well, hint hint. Number 4. FIFA 16, 2015. Our original pick for this entry was 1994's Sensible World of Soccer, which is widely regarded as one of the greatest sports games of any kind, let alone football. Instead though, we've gone for FIFA 16, which might come across as a bit of a disgrace to you sensible soccer fans out there. Why did my beloved childhood classic lose to some random FIFA game? I hear you yell over the sound of pitchforks sharpening. Well, if you turn off your grindstones, I will tell you. Alongside changes to Ultimate Team mode, FIFA 16 is notable for being the first game in the series to include female players. 12 women's national teams were playable, and 3 different female players featured on covers for the games in different regions. For a series and sport that is often very exclusionary towards women, this was a huge step forwards and one that has been built upon with every subsequent FIFA release. This game quietly marked major progress for football games and brought women's football to its largest ever audience. See? We had a good reason after all. Now kindly stop burning my house down, sensible soccer fans. All my stuff is in there. Number 3. Madden NFL 2006, 2005. Much like FIFA 16, EA's Madden NFL 2006 seems, on the surface, to be just another identical installment of an annual sports franchise. Aside from the ability to integrate save data from previous games, the new Superstar mode, or the ability to unlock a special bus in Burnout Revenge, this edition of Madden doesn't appear to offer anything special, that is, until you take a look behind the scenes. In 2004, EA and the NFL signed a multi-year exclusivity deal, meaning that they were the only ones allowed to make licensed NFL football simulation games. This was terrible news for EA's competitors, especially 2K Games, who were forced to end their existing NFL series. Madden 06 then was the first exclusive NFL simulation game, establishing EA's monopoly over the genre and shaping all future Madden games to come. EA renewed their contract with the NFL in 2020, and their dominance over Madden looks set to continue. With no challenges to their crown, who knows what EA will do with the series going forwards? Based on what they've done with previous titles, NFL fans should probably be a bit frightened. Madden NFL 2006 is definitely an influential game, but time will tell whether or not that's a good thing. Number 2. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, 1999. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, or Tony Hawk Skateboarding if you want to get British, Australian, Kiwi and some parts of Europe about this, is nothing short of a classic. First released on the PlayStation in 1999, Pro Skater gave the most uncoordinated of us a chance to live our radical, gnarly dreams by competing in skating contests, performing tricks and generally just prattling about to a banging ska soundtrack. The first Tony Hawk game unleashed a wave of sequels and spin-offs across a range of consoles, and it even got remade alongside the second game in 2020. It also holds up critically, with the PlayStation version scoring a truly wizard 92 on Metacritic. Pro Skater was a perfect middle ground between hardcore skate fans and people who just like to watch their friends fall off of things and hurt themselves. It opened countless new eyes to the sport and defined many a childhood in the late 90s and early 2000s. Now that's what I call... Okay, I've run out of skater words. Can we just do the last entry now? Number 1. Wii Sports 2006. Here it is, the ultimate sports game for people who don't like sports. Bundled with the Wii on launch, Wii Sports found its way into millions of homes as the perfect introduction to Nintendo's hardware. If you don't know what Wii Sports is, then you've either never played a video game in your life, in which case why are you here, or you've been in a coma since 2005, in which case you have a lot of catching up to do. The game offers 5 sports, the ability to play as yourself via Mii's, and endless hours of fun, whether that be trying to finish an entire golf course with just a putter or beating the living plops out of grandma in boxing. Wii Sports revolutionized sports games with its simple control scheme, charming graphics, and emphasis on inclusion. Many a holiday was spent knocking down pins or hitting home runs, and the game helped bring thousands of families closer together. It also undoubtedly drove millions apart, but that's besides the point. For being one of the most influential games of all time, sports or otherwise, Wii Sports was always a lock-in for the number 1 spot on this list. Now, hand me that Wiimote, Grandma and I have some unfinished business.